My name's Eli Orkin, and I'm a founding team member here at Vizit. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Vizit, we're an artificial intelligence company that makes software to analyze visual content and provide new insights and measurement capabilities for imagery. So today I'm excited to talk briefly about the growing importance of visual content when it comes to e-commerce and influencing consumer decision-making, as well as how new visual AI technology is driving efficiency and advancement in creative and design testing processes, optimization and syndication workflows, and analytics and monitoring capabilities. And then we'll get into the fun stuff where I'm actually going to walk through some live demonstrations to show how we can gain new insights on imagery with AI to really enhance design and creation, content effectiveness on Walmart, PDP performance, and most importantly, the shopper experience online. So I probably don't have to belabor the point of this slide given my audience here, but visual content is really critical when it comes to online purchasing decisions. 88% of consumers consider the product image to be the key element of the online shopping experience. 95% of consumers that click into a carousel will go and view every single image in that carousel. And bad product content is the #1 reason that consumers don't convert online. And that impact really isn't confined just to e-commerce. A majority of retail sales are actually influenced by digital imagery as well. But it is so difficult to really build that winning visual content strategy. We have less than 2 seconds to grab consumer attention, and the human brain processes images so much faster than it does text. And really, because of all these challenges, well over 90% of digital images aren't actually optimized for the best sales results and shopper experiences. And really what that results in is sending some of this really great traffic we've generated to shopping experiences that don't compel consumers to convert. And this means, of course, lost sales opportunities, inefficient ad spend, huge content waste, and new emerging opportunities for competitors. And really, in addition to this, the traditional ways of gathering consumer research on imagery or visual content in order to optimize it, methods like surveys, focus groups, panels, studies, even A/B testing, aren't really equipping e-commerce teams with the intelligence they need to keep up with the speed of today's digital consumer. And that's because these methods have targeting limitations. Brands and e-commerce teams have trouble honing in on their exact target audiences with these methods, as well as being able to test against all of their global audiences to make sure all that PDP content is optimized. Traditional methods don't reflect the reality of modern buying behavior, which is system one, quick, automatic, emotional, effortless decision-making, not complex calculations decided on in a clinical or laboratory or survey focus group setting. They can be time-consuming. Some methods take days or weeks to run, and they can be really expensive to run and iterate. It can cost thousands of dollars to just test or analyze a small set of visual content for a single consumer audience. So really, because of all of these factors, these traditional methods can't scale to the hundreds or maybe even thousands of assets a brand might need to analyze in order to optimize their content on Walmart, on the PDP, across the entire path to purchase. And this is really why I'm excited to talk to everyone here about how AI can help us solve some of these challenges. We know that AI is already impacting so many of the areas of user experience. If we think about our daily lives, streaming platforms like Netflix and Spotify give us curated content based on advanced learning and predictions about what we're most likely to want to watch or listen to next. If you've had a customer support interaction on a large online retailer recently, the odds are that you've already interacted with AI, as it's starting to fuel a lot of these customer support experiences and chats, especially with the amazing progress in large language models we've seen recently. And creative teams are leveraging generative AI to help make new content, quicker edits, and create imagery at scale for both inspiration and use in production. So Vizit is providing new AI to e-com and creative teams that really gives them the ability to measure, understand, and monitor content through their audience's eyes, understand where attention will be garnered, discover the changes they can make to improve effectiveness against competitors, to really drive significant increases in PDP performance. For the first time, being able to actually monitor the health of your visual content or the effectiveness of your visual content across PDPs, across categories on e-commerce, on the digital shelf. So how do we get to these new AI generated image insights? Well, it really starts with first collecting audience data based on that unique segmentation of the consumer groups, demographic and psychographic traits, information on where those groups spend time online and consume content online. We're also analyzing interactions with content and extremely granular elements of that content to find patterns in image characteristics, things like subject matter, scenery styling, colors, shapes, background, layout, composition, and thousands of more variables. Each image our software analyzes is actually broken down into at least 20,000 unique characteristics, both human and machine readable. So next, we're applying this learning from large-scale audience behavioral and interaction data, as well as these granular image trend and characteristic data points to actually teach the AI to identify appealing characteristics and unappealing characteristics of images in order to effectively simulate the visual preferences of unique consumer audiences. So with these AI simulated audiences, which we call audience lenses in the product, we can now render predictions in the form of scores on new imagery and begin to measure and optimize visual content through the eyes of the audiences that we care about. And it's really through this simulation of these audiences and the objective evaluation of imagery against their preferences that Vizit makes it easy to measure and create and optimize for any audience, really to elevate that PDP experience, that shopper experience on the digital shelf and beyond. So this starts with conceptualization and inspiration, right? Whether this is informing a creative brief or beginning to develop a brand identity, a product design, whether you need images for a specific PDP or this is a fully fledged campaign, Vizit makes it easy to understand the visual trends that exist within a category for an audience and what different elements are more and less likely to actually resonate with the intended audiences at that point of creation. Then Vizit influences how we test and measure visual content. The ability to immediately understand the effectiveness of different designs and imagery for key audiences really provides that real-time feedback, which we can use to enhance efficiency, make more objective decisions around visual content, what goes on the PDP, and it provides us with a new set of data to really justify choices and direction when it comes to content design. And then when it comes to optimization and syndication, we can expand Vizit's measurement and analysis capabilities to entire channels in order to ensure all brand content is optimized and every image is maximized for appeal and driving conversion. This might also include analyzing all the images in our PIMs or DAMs to ensure that we're really surfacing and serving the most appealing content possible to online shoppers across channels. And finally, none of this is a set it and forget it process, right? We can monitor our own content, category content, or any competitive set to really gain a much better understanding of consumer seasonal shifts and preferences over time, category movement, and competitive strategy. So we deliver on this through our visual performance platform, which consists of an AI content studio and a content monitoring product. The AI content studio allows for searching, evaluation, and comparison of visual content, really in order to discover the most effective content and test and validate new concepts for any target audience in real time. And I'll be showing this in just a few minutes here, but monitoring our other product brings that depth of the AI content studio insights to the speed and scale of the digital shelf by providing listing level visual effectiveness scores and allowing for benchmarking and analysis against category competitors. So let's actually hop in now and take a look at what this looks like and how it works. And before I dive into the platform, I just want to touch on what we see today when we go to Walmart or really any retailer website for that matter. Here you can see there are tons of competing images, thousands of people, and in some categories, even millions are looking at these product images and these products every single day. And if I were to click into any of these products, what you'll see is a PDP with even more imagery. But we already know that that these images are the most, or one of the most critical aspects of driving conversions and sales with consumers. But what data can we actually get on these images today? Maybe an image name, dimensions, pixel dimensions. When it was created in some PIMs and DAMs, and other platforms, you might see additional campaign or thematic tags, maybe even historical performance in a campaign. But the challenge here is we have no idea whether or not these are the right images for the intended audience, if it will actually be successful at capturing attention and driving conversions and sales. And if not, how do we immediately make it better? So let's hop over to the Vizit platform now. So as you can see, I've got one of these same Tide Pod carousel images that we just saw in the PDP opened up in Vizit. We've uploaded and scored this. And what's really special about what we're looking at is we're now viewing this detergent carousel image through the eyes of the selected audience. This is an AI simulation of this US Gen Pop audience's visual preferences. And again, with the no surveys here, we're not asking any questions. This is learning that our system does from millions of interactions with thousands of images that this audience has online every day. And this is maybe a bit of a broader audience. We have customers of Vizit who are very specific in the types of audiences that they apply, the lenses that they apply to their e-commerce imagery. For example, we could have millennial dads that live in Seattle that make a certain amount of money every year that are dairy-free and have recently purchased fitness equipment, right? We can get very specific on the audiences that we are able to simulate here. We're also using a benchmark for comparison of other laundry detergent imagery, and I'll get into what that means in a minute. But really what you'll see on this single image analysis screen of our AI Content Studio product is initially insights around attention, right? Where the average consumer is likely to look within this image, where they're likely to focus, in what sequence they're likely to perceive the images or the elements within this image. And really these insights are being leveraged to make sure product copy is seen, products are placed prominently, calls to action are viewed, buttons are clicked, really that the image is intended in the way, is being viewed in the way it was intended to be, right? But the most important metric on this single image analysis is the Vizit score. So this is the predicted effectiveness of this image for the specified audience. And with a score of 58.1, this is a decent image, not great, not bad. When we scroll down, we can get further insights here into what is actually driving and potentially detracting from this score. So when it comes to driving, this styling and placement of the product packaging down below here, when it comes to potentially what's detracting from this image, how could we improve on this image, the styling and placement of this Downy product, maybe there's a better way to visualize this product. Maybe it should be coming from the other side. Maybe the angle is off. I will walk through in just a couple of minutes how we actually take these insights as well as category or benchmark insights to incrementally improve the effectiveness of visual content for the digital shelf. So I'll get there in just a second, but this is, again, our AI Content Studio product, which is really meant for quick uploading, testing, comparison, validation of certain images or pieces of visual content before we move on and iterate or make a decision. When I click into our next screen here, this is our home screen for our visual content monitoring product. And as you can see, I've created a monitor here on that same Tide Pods plus Downy product. And what you'll see initially is a listing level score now. So this is now looking at all of the images that exist on that PDP rather than just at the individual image level. And this listing level score is a composite score that's driven by the product hero score. So that first image that you see in search, the first image in the carousel, typically this can be the packaging or the main image that will show up in search initially. Carousel image score, so an aggregated score of all the carousel images that exist on the PDP, and then an image volume score. So the number of assets and the sequence of those assets all roll up with these other inputs to provide this listing level score. And we're not just getting one listing score for the product that we're monitoring here. We're actually getting scores for all the other products that compete with this product on the digital shelf. So this is a very powerful screen to understand how are my competitors doing compared to me? Who is winning? Why? Do they have great product hero imagery, a great carousel imagery? Is it a combination of both of those factors? We can filter these things. We can even see who might be a low performer in this category, who's maybe requiring some optimization because their carousel imagery is underperforming, or product hero, listing score, vice versa. So really great way to just quickly explore your category here. We can also dive into any of those listings to learn more about them. I'm going to go ahead and click into the listing that we created a monitor on. And what you'll see is visit scores, or image effectiveness, visual content effectiveness scores on these images as they appear in the carousel. So you'll see that we've got the product hero here, has a score of 74. This is a pretty high scoring product hero image. And then for the rest of the images in this carousel, we see scores that range from kind of middle of the road to lower, some higher scoring images, and more sort of across the board over here. So if I click into any of these images, I can trigger a deeper, again, the same screen we saw in the AI Content Studio. This is the single image analysis, where we'll actually get more insight into what is driving and detracting from the scores of these images. And what you'll see right away is we can see where, again, attention falls on the product, on the product copy here, and then the product placement and styling driving that image score up, and the styling and placement of that text, that product copy up top, potentially dragging down the score here. But these are really single image insights. And once we've understood how this image is likely to be viewed and what's driving and detracting from effectiveness here, we can go and explore benchmark visual trends. And what this allows me to do is understand and see, what does really great visual content look like for US Gen Pop in this category? So all of those competitors that we just saw in the digital monitoring, content monitoring homepage, we're now seeing their visual content scored and organized here, so we can understand what really makes effective content. We see kind of these deep close-ups on apparel or clothing fibers, human hands holding these products, people placing Tide Pods into washing machines, these scent and kind of freshness and cleanliness graphics. We kind of see this as a trend that bubbles to the top here. And this is, going through this, we can look at these and kind of anecdotally pull these out. But what we can also do is, once we have our hypotheses about what's driving the effectiveness here, we can flip on any of these insights that we showed on the previous screen and really dig into what elements drive effectiveness for this audience in this category. So the washing machine with the door open, the human hands holding this product. Again, a lot of these, we see a lot of repetitive themes here. And we can really quickly confirm some of these hypotheses, some of these where we have kids or babies in the images, a bigger presentation of that product centered in the middle of the graphic, right? So what we can do with the learning from the single image analysis and the benchmark is actually then go in and really use this as a guide to make optimizations here. So we learned from the benchmark that actually having that washing machine visualization within that carousel image is really critical to raising that score up. Is there a better way to convey the same messaging differently and enhance the score of that visual content here? So what you're looking at is, we uploaded several different variations that we've made of this exact same piece of content. You can see as we start to introduce those elements that we know are important based on the single image analysis and the benchmark analysis, we're improving this score, right? Introducing an actual washing machine image, playing with logo placement and the styling. Instead of white text at the top, we're using black. Sizing of that, including a human hand. What size should that hand be? What angle should it be delivering that product into the washing machine from, right? These are all things we can use to optimize this image from a pretty low score of a 38.2 all the way to a 99. And remember here, the purpose being making more effective and conversion driving carousel imagery to make that shopping experience more pleasant and more effective for this specified target audience. So I'll show another set of kind of fun, quick examples here. I haven't triggered the compare screen yet, but we're back in studio. Here's another carousel image that originally had a pretty low score. I'm just going to grab a couple different iterations here. We'll hit compare. Sure we have the right benchmark selected. And you can see we can do this, follow sort of the same process here where we're able to start with a low scoring image and introduce different elements and different configurations from the learning of those single image insights and the benchmark insights to make a much higher scoring, a much more effective image in this category. We can also flip on insights at any time to understand what's driving effectiveness in these images, where there still exists room for improvement, right? We can understand in this first initial image that the placement and styling of the product copy and the iconography maybe wasn't ideal for this audience's visual preferences. As we continue to play with those, the sizing, the coloring of the iconography while sort of remaining in the brand guidelines, right? We're not straying outside of brand colors here. We're just inverting them, is a way to really improve the quality of this image for the selected audience. And this isn't just confined to carousel imagery. We had a pretty high scoring product hero. If you remember back to that initial PDP monitor, right? That Tide product hero image did pretty well. 74 is a high scoring image in the Vizit system. However, we wanted to see if there were ways to actually improve this. And we'll see a lot of brands that alter the angles of their product. There's obviously limited things for, depending on retailer guidelines and brand guidelines, you're probably not going to be messing with your product packaging, right? There might be some differences when it comes to a mobile ready hero image versus an original desktop image. But other than that, there's only so many things you can do. However, what we've discovered and found time and time again is subtle tweaks like rotation, shadows, depth, perspective in instances where some of that product can be pulled outside, whether it's, cookies outside of the packaging or actually pulling these Tide Pods out front of this packaging and placing them in front of the product. We can really impact the appeal or the effectiveness of these images just by making those subtle changes. One of the stories I like to tell is a national pet brand we were working with for all of their PDP content had their product packaging oriented at such an angle where their kind of iconic, legendary pet mascot was barely visible in the product hero imagery. And Vizit system flagged this, recommended an alternate angle of this image. And once they made those alterations where in those product hero images, you could now see that iconic pet mascot, it was at the right angle. The scores went up dramatically. And within 2 weeks, traffic and conversions and sales also went up by double digits. So those subtle changes that may seem, small to us actually can make a huge difference when it comes to how consumers perceive that content on the shelf and how it makes them engage or act based on what's being shown. Here's just another fun example from the same listing where for dosing directions, we see the original Tide carousel image here, kind of in-depth, small iconography with the washing machine. They even have indicated the load size with the clothing, the amount that's inside these icons with a Tide Pod to the left. We experimented, and just by kind of altering the way, removing that washing machine, showing the amount of Tide Pods required more clearly, more legibly, was something that really increased the score of this image as we go across different iterations for this target audience. And then finally, here's just another fun example of an original image and messaging for this content, and the same messaging here, but actually including real imagery in the background. This was actually, funny enough, ironically, AI-generated washing machine imagery, since we did not have access to a PIM or DAM at the time. But this is a quick example of taking those learnings from the individual image insights and the benchmark to make more effective and inform more effective and conversion-driving PDP imagery on Walmart. and really across the digital shelf. This is not the great thing about Vizit's platform is that it is retailer agnostic. So these insights aren't just confined to a single retailer. There may be different audiences that we select, but the process remains the same. So let me just hop back into the deck here just to wrap things up. So really why all this matters and just kind of tying it all together is that when we apply visual AI to the digital shelf, higher scoring images, more effective visual content means more traffic, conversions, and sales. And of course, maybe most importantly, a better customer experience. Excuse me. And to put this to a couple real examples, I've included results from brands using Vizit to really measure and optimize e-com product page imagery here. So Masterlock is a good example, and one that touches on kind of the subtlety of the tweaks that can be made and then the results that we see from that. So they were really undergoing an overhaul in their visual content across e-com, and they used Vizit to improve product imagery across several of their flagship products. So this is, again, really an interesting example because we probably don't think of safes as one of the consumer safes as one of the most exciting categories on Amazon, and Masterlock is a good example of someone who is far and away already so dominant in their category, but even subtle improvements to their visual content led to some really exciting gains. So this involved improving the effectiveness of both their product hero imagery and carousel imagery across several of their key products. However, one of the really interesting findings here that I like to highlight is that improvement of their hero imagery or their primary imagery of their safe was achieved really just by opening that safe door a little bit, I think 15 more degrees, to just showcase more of the items within the safe itself. And that shifts consumer attention away from falling primarily on that bolting or locking mechanism to the actual items within that safe, right? Which improved the scores of those images, but also in the end helped earn Masterlock some of these really nice lifts in traffic conversions and sales. So to tie that back, thinking about the apparel optimizations, right? Even just the angle that we're showing the model and how we're cropping them, what shoes they have on, where their hands are, whether or not they're in their pockets, right? Those are things that can help us stand out, be more appealing on the digital shelf, and eventually enjoy some of these performance gains. Moen, one of the largest American manufacturers of sinks and fixtures, uses Vizit to optimize the presentation of their products on Amazon as well. So they're simulating that visual preference set of their category shopper audience, and then they're able to quickly test and enhance those images with Vizit to really significantly drive some of those metrics up as well. And then finally, Mars Pet Care, which includes brands that I'm sure everyone here knows, like Pedigree, Iams, Temptations, many more of those. They're a great Vizit power user, and really they've taken it a step further where they've discovered the design trends that attract and convert their audiences across the digital shelf. And after running that analysis in several countries across several audiences, they're actually creating AI-driven playbooks around what visual content needs to look like for different audiences, for different product lines, for different aspects of marketing and advertising when it comes to those products. So, for example, when we're showing a lifestyle imagery that is promoting our cat food, certain elements need to exist for a European audience versus a US audience, right? So they've really, through this application, they've been able to boost, of course, conversion rates, but also their content creation efficiency dramatically, right? They now have a shared lexicon for what quality visual content looks like for their audiences. They have playbooks. They know before they ever make content what needs to exist in it for it to be maximized in terms of its effectiveness with their consumers that they care about. So hopefully today I've helped illustrate how this new visual AI is impacting and elevating content effectiveness on the digital shelf, but also just as a quick recap here, when you're able to introduce AI into your tech stack, it really results in a creative process that's efficient. It drives real performance on the digital shelf with higher scoring content and allows you to really continuously monitor the health of your PDP content and improve that content during seasonal shifts. And really as an offer through this presentation as well, is if you'd like to send a product or a brand image to us over at Vizit, or even link us with a PDP to get your own personalized image analysis, we'd be really happy to follow up with that and show you the results. So thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.